households, urgent medical evacuation must be facilitated for all those who need it in the meantime. Our UK hospitals previously assisted children needing urgent treatment from Ukraine. We ask, why has the same not been allowed and granted for the children of Gaza up until now? Why? Are all lives not equal? Thousands of children have been orphaned, traumatised and suffer painful and catastrophic injuries, amputations. We call on our Prime Minister and Health Secretary to put this inequity right and allow us to help these children if we can.
This ceasefire is because of two things. A bit of pressure from Washington, from Trump, but much more that the Palestinian resistance has not been defeated by Israel over the last 16 months. This is truly remarkable. This is truly off the scale of heroism. And I'm reminded of a man called Marek Edelman, a hero of the Jewish struggle against the Nazis in Warsaw Ghetto, who wrote a letter. He survived the war. He was anti-Zionist. He wrote a letter to the Palestinian resistance in Gaza. As fellow freedom fighters, as others struggling against a monstrous racist regime. And he saw the similarity between what the Palestinians were resisting, a regime that wishes their doom, wishes them to die, to disappear, to make way for Jews, Zionist Jews from around the world, from Russia, from Glasgow. They must make way, they must leave or be killed. That's the fate of the Palestinians if they do not resist. Thank God they resist. Because if they did not resist, it would give succor to all the dark forces of the planet who wish to resolve their problems by killing, by exterminating their opponents. When they resist successfully, they send a message around the world that despite the most uneven struggle in the history of the human race, despite the struggle by people forced to live in tunnels against a military superpower with nuclear weapons, they still can win. What do we mean by win? It's not wishful thinking. In Algeria, in Aden against the British, in Kenya against the British, for the anti-colonial people to win, they merely have to exist, to not be obliterated. Netanyahu promised the Israelis he would fight until Hamas was obliterated. They have not been obliterated. They continue to fight. And this is a marvel. If you had asked me a year ago, 2 years ago, if this was possible, I would have said you were dreaming. It is inconceivable that locked up in the tiny area of Gaza, the Palestinians with nowhere to retreat. Nowhere to retreat. Even the Lebanese resistance can retreat backwards and come back and fight. That they would manage to defeat Israel in the general military sense, that Israel has failed to defeat them. And Netanyahu is in a profound crisis because of that Palestinian resistance. Friends, this is not something to be embarrassed about. It's not something to be ashamed of. Say it loud, say it clear. We support Palestinian resistance. Last night, 30,000 children died of hunger, lack of water, lack of basic needs. There's nothing you can do for them. You cannot be in solidarity unless there is resistance. Where there is resistance, there can be solidarity. And Palestinians have won the right to our solidarity 1,000-fold. And we pledge we will never give in. They never give in. We will never give in our support for them.
We need to have consequences for those directly involved in participating in these war crimes, including hundreds of British citizens and residents who have directly served the IDF. Currently, there are 100 people who have served in the IDF, and they believe they are... Shame. Really shameful. They cannot expect to return to live normal lives alongside us, as if they've just been serving a normal military. These are war criminals, and they've been directly participating in genocide. There cannot be a double standard. If people like Shamima Begum and all these other people who are associated with Islamic terrorist groups or ISIS and whatnot are being deprived of their citizenship, there cannot be a double standard. Everyone who has directly funded or participated in the IDF cannot be accepted as a normal citizen of the UK.
Stage 1, destroy Gaza, obliterate Gaza, reduce Gaza to rubble. That's why they have targeted schools and hospitals and houses and sewage systems and water plants, etc. The aim is to make Gaza unlivable, to reduce it to rubble. You know, when you see pictures of Gaza from the air, you know, when these drones, and it's a sea of rubble, it reminds you of these German cities at the end of the Second World War, which were systematically pulverised by bombers. That's what Gaza's like now. Stage 2, turn the entire Palestinian population of Gaza into internal refugees as a precursor for turning them into external refugees. Because we know that the plan is to remove the Gazan population from that area, move them elsewhere. And Israel, of course, in that type of mass ethnic cleansing has a long track record. Thirdly, rebuild Gaza. And then fourthly, repopulate Gaza with Israeli settlers. That's the plan. Everybody knows that's the plan. Anybody who watches Gaza day by day can see that that's the plan. Now, some people might say, and this has been said to me, that all sounds a bit like a conspiracy theory, but it's not. Because if you go to Israel, if you go to Jerusalem, if you go to Tel Aviv, it's openly discussed. It's openly discussed among politicians, amongst academics, amongst newspaper people. It's common currency. We don't hear that because what we hear is propaganda.
In Britain, the criminal process is used to isolate and criminalise. In Scotland, it's no different, as our case of the Stammer 2 demonstrates. We know that solidarity and support works. We know it's effective in defeating isolation and the attempts to criminalise us.
It's a shame on Mr. Scammer, and I keep calling him Scammer not by mistake. I mean to, because he is nothing but a scammer. He does not represent the members of the Labour Party, and he should be resigning or being pushed out. We need a Labour Party that is strong, that represents the people, that talks for the people of Scotland and the people of the UK. Mr. Sarwar, Mr. Sarwar, I was expecting him to be leading the Labour Party into opposing the genocide, yet he was quiet all this time. If you know him, or if you are voting for him or for his party, you need to ask him questions next time. Is he worth our vote? Because Palestinians tomorrow in Palestine, Scots tomorrow here, sorry. If he would be prepared to sacrifice the Palestinians for politics, he will sacrifice the Scots for his politics too. And that goes for every politician in the UK. We need new blood of politicians that talk for the people and act for the people, and they don't have the fear of a third party sitting in Tel Aviv telling them what to do or else. The or else has to stop.
But we continue to criminalise those who protest against this madness at ever greater rates. The surging number of political prisoners in the UK demands not just solidarity, but active organising and, as a movement, enabling their continued participation in the struggle. Struggles from South Africa to Ireland have been fundamentally altered by political prisoners. So let's give them the resources to use the extreme waste of time that prison consists of to develop the knowledge and skills to become a new wave of organisers, recruiters, trainers and speakers to build a mass movement for social and international justice.